this is my first spiritual retreat. I've been wanting to go on one for a very long time, and I had a feeling I was going on one soon, but I didn't quite know how or where. So for Mother's Day, my husband actually gave me a trip to a spiritual retreat because he knows, all the things I'm into and things like that. So I'm excited, and I'm going to show you guys pictures of my room, show you guys what it looks like. Hopefully I can get it's kind of, they don't want cell phones out too much, so I'm not even going to be on my cell phone like that. I'm just going to be taking a few clips here and there and then sharing my experience. But I just wanted to check in with you guys. After I post this video, I'm kind of going to post another video explaining my experience going on monk mode. Yeah, so I went on monk mode and I basically cut everybody off. And it wasn't in a mean, harsh way. I just realized how so many people had subconsciously control over our choices and who we are and those things, and I didn't like it. Sometimes your family can be a negative influence on you without trying, right? An example, and I've used this example before in my HSP video, I believe, but you love dancing and you're just dancing in the mirror at 8 years old, and your brother walks in and is like, ew, what are you doing? You look crazy. And so because of what your brother said, you never danced for 20 years. Or like, it's only those highly sensitive people that are easily, and it's usually those people pleasers. So I was a people pleaser. I was a highly sensitive individual. I'm an empath, and I realized how much programming I had in me that was from others and not of myself. So in order for me to become who I am, I had to cut everything and everyone off in order to figure out who it is that I actually was. So I took it to a bit of an extreme. I cut everybody off. All my friends, everyone in my family. The only people I interacted with was my husband, my children, and I had to interact with my husband's family because we had to drop our children off there for Christmas break. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't interact with them either. And again, I released everyone with love. This was not in any type of negative vibrational type thing. It was I have to figure out who I am and what my life purpose is and why God wants me on this planet. I have to eliminate all fear. I have to eliminate all doubt, all this trying to figure out why I want to please people more than myself type. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, long story short, I changed my number and I didn't give anybody my number. And my birthday came around. I did not log on Facebook. I didn't log on social media. I actually created a new social media for like my business, but I really don't even use it because honestly, social media don't make sense. Ever since I went down my spiritual journey, social media no longer made sense to me. It was kind of like a huge distraction. Yes, it's a way to bring us together in positive times, but it has taken on a negative spin more than anything, in my opinion. So, yeah. So I despise social media. I'm just being real. I do use YouTube, but other than that, yeah, I ain't feeling social media. But anyways, I cut everybody off. I changed my number, and I literally just started meditating. I meditate all the time. I'm at the end of my journey to where I found a way to love my teachers, and everyone you interact with is a teacher. It could be a good teacher or a bad teacher, but at the end of the day, everything you experience is a lesson. So I've learned to love all of my teachers. I've learned to love my mom, my dad. I've loved to learn people who I felt did me wrong, didn't love me like I should have, and blah, blah, blah. I've learned to stop being a victim. I've learned to be a warrior. I've learned to lean on God. I've learned that He has always been there for me, and I learned that this was all a part of His plan. Sometimes God will get you to the point to where all you have is Him. And when you're to that point, that's exactly where you should be, because on the other side of that point is victory. And so I'm here. And, this spiritual retreat is kind of the cherry on top of me coming back to the world. And, they always say God will literally make you over and you'll become someone that you don't even recognize. And like, that's me. I'm now fully vegan. Like, I'm literally shaved the side of my head. Like, I'm doing things that I never thought I would do. Stepping outside of my comfort zone. Going to places by myself was always something that I always wanted to do. And I'm doing all of that. Anything that brings me fear, I do it anyways, purposely, because what is fear? It's up for false evidence appearing real. Fear is not real. And also, I'm not going to experience anything that's low on the vibrational chart. Like, keep that vibrational chart handy with you, and if it's evoking any type of negative emotion from you, you don't need to be around it. You don't need to be, until you learn how to be at peace when there's tornadoes all around you. You gotta find a way. You gotta learn to be at peace when there's chaos surrounding you. And I'm at that point. I don't harbor resentment anymore. I'm fully healed. And this is what I wanted for myself. This is what I knew God was doing for me. Hold on. This is exactly what I knew God was doing, is eliminating all this gunk from my system, right? So that I can fully take on my purpose in this world. And so I'm just excited to be going on a spiritual retreat. I'm going to be sharing with you guys as much as I can share without being, being a cell phone person, having cell phones in people's face and stuff. But, so I'm going to record for you guys the things that I can show you. Try to show you, at least tell you what there is to eat. It is vegetarian, but I'm vegan anyway, so that's yum yum for me. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I'll check in with you guys in a bit. I hope you enjoy your day. Sending you peace, love, and blessings. Bye. It has officially been a week since I've returned back from my very first spiritual retreat. I just wanted to check in with you guys and tell you about my experience. It's located in Wisdom, Texas. They practice Jainism. A lot of people were there just like me, just, there to experience a personal spiritual retreat. So they do different activities. They have meditation retreats, yoga retreats. They have releasing anger retreats. There's about 10 different retreats you can go on. Now, in addition to the main retreats, you also can go on a personal retreat, which is what I did. In addition to that, you can also go on a fasting retreat. They have you could do a fasting retreat of your own, or you could do a fasting retreat with them. They also have a silent retreat where you can go on a silent retreat on your own, or you can do a silent retreat along with them. Now, from reading about the silent retreat, I do want to let you guys know that they do ask that you turn in your cell phones. Obviously, I don't think they're going to be like, cell phone now. But just saying, that is there in the paperwork saying, we ask that you kindly turn in your cell phones. During the silent retreat, there is no talking, no reading, no writing. You are simply going within. And your cell phone is released to you at the end. I think that's a beautiful retreat. Honestly, I could see myself doing the silent retreat. I was kind of torn between a silent retreat, a water fasting retreat, or just a personal retreat. And I ended up doing a personal retreat for my first experience. So I want to tell you guys how synchronized my life is right now. So again, I did say that this retreat was a gift for my husband. Now, along with my personal retreat, I was gifted this book. It's called Shine Through Wisdom. And by the first day, I had read 52 pages. By the second day, I was on page 107. And I'm still making my way through. I'm back to life. I have a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old. Well, she just turned 7. So literally I have kids, that are back to back. So I'm the only child. I'm not used to the sibling, what, if you know, then you know what comes along with siblings. So it took about 4 days. I had this bliss, right? It took about 4 days for that bliss to kind of start to started to wear off just because of regular life. I saw an experiment done on monks and regular people where they took people in New York out of the busy streets, had them meditate for like an hour or 2 hour every day, and then put them back into New York. And over time, they slowly, their stress levels went back up, where with monks, they actually saw that their stress levels stayed the same. So the goal for me is always to find inner peace and be able to, I do paint sometimes. And I have a painting where there's someone who is meditating and there's tornadoes all around them. My goal is to always keep a level head and be unbothered by the tornadoes. Tornadoes can be life. It could be bickering. It could be just all these things that get thrown at you in life. But anyways, the first activity in this book, let me see if I can find it quickly. Anyways, it's a really good book. So the person, one of the monks there wrote this book. She basically, she went through turmoil. And, I'm literally at where she described her father in the most beautiful light, and I understood everything she said. She wrote this book and she said, I want to thank my father for teaching me how to love myself. And her father brought her through some really dark moments and dark times. But I'm at that moment in my life as well to where I can thank my teachers. I can thank my teachers, and your teachers is everyone. Your teachers are people who you feel did good by you and bad by you. Everyone you interact with is a teacher. And so, as I said earlier, I've gotten to the point where I've learned to love all of my teachers. I've learned to no longer resent my parents. I've learned to no longer be a victim and instead be a warrior. Instead, find the good in that, because honestly, if I didn't experience that, the lack of love or whatever it is, if I didn't experience that, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have a passion in me to help people to figure out how to love themselves. I wouldn't be exactly who I am today. And the way she gave respect to her father in this book, it was beautiful. And I think that we all need to get to that point to where we can actually thank those that we feel have done us wrong. So the first thing she has you do is a confession. We have a lot of judgment in us, and a lot of times we think we're better than people, or I always give this scenario to my husband, we're so free, and me and my husband are the same. We're super giving. We're so willing to give to strangers on the street, but when someone close to us asks, not us, but I'm just saying, people are like, oh, I'm not giving them no money because of this or because of that. And when at the end of the day, you don't know what those people did that you're giving money to on the street, but you justify doing that. But then you hold and dangle things over people in your family. So I just feel like God is love, and you should also be love. So literally, I opened my journal, right? And I realized the last thing I wrote was a forgiveness letter to my mother and my father. And basically, I wrote this for myself, because anger, resentment, all those things are too heavy. It's a too heavy price to pay. Not only is it unhealthy for you, people get cancer, people get all type of things from resentment and carrying things. You can always tell someone that has a lot of resentment because of the illnesses that they carry. When you hold things deep inside, or you pretend to be okay and you're not. And so I didn't want that karma. So I wrote a letter to my mom and my dad, forgiving them and honestly thanking them, because had my life had not turned out exactly the way it did, I wouldn't be where I am in my journey. And for that, I'm so appreciative. I'm so appreciative for, surrendering to God. I'm so appreciative of being who I am and where I am today. So literally, before I went, I had just wrote a letter to my mom and dad, forgiving them for everything. And the first activity is to write a confession. When I tell you that is one of the most humbling experiences that I've ever experienced. So you write a confession of everything you've ever done in this lifetime that you remember doing from childhood all the way up to present day. I wrote a confession about an experience I had with a girl in my classroom in elementary named Brittany Flakes. Like, everybody used to kind of like pick on her, and you know, we all think we're just so perfect, and like we have the thing about showing one side of us to the world and hiding the full side of us. But one thing you have to accept your shadow, and you have to accept the face that you show the world. You have to accept everything you are. So anyways, so I wrote a confession. I mentioned her. I mentioned a girl named Charlita that I worked with. I mentioned a friend of mine named Brandy. I mentioned so many things. And like, I think I had like 3 pages, and it was the most humbling experience because it let me know that you're not innocent. Who are you to judge people? Because you're not innocent. You've done many things intentionally and unintentionally, and you got to realize that we're all on somebody's shit list. We're all on somebody's I can't stand them list. And so no matter how much of a good person that you think you are, that you claim to be, we're all good and we're all bad. We're all nothing and we're all something. We're all everything. You know, I was watching a Know Thyself podcast, and it was a billionaire on there. I understand right now I can't remember, so hopefully I can remember to go back and post his name here. But he said he went through all like 4,000 different character traits, and he said, yes, I'm all of that. I'm giving, and I'm also stingy. I'm everything and I'm nothing at all. And like, what is so beautiful, and I had to stop and thank God for me coming across that, because my life is just so synchronized to where what I'm experiencing, I keep coming across it. Every dream I have, like my prophetic dreams, like I see others, like, y'all, something is going on. Every time I have a prophetic dream, every time I have God speaks to me, I literally see someone else posting about it. I literally see someone else talking about it. That's how I know it's a real life shift. And I'm just so happy I get to be a part of it. I'm so happy that I decided to surrender and heal myself. But anyways, another thing I really love about her book, hopefully I'm not like skipping around too much, is the non-violence aspect. You know, I remember, especially when I was a middle school teacher, I would always be like, I envision a better world than this. Like, I'm not content with this world. I'm not content with my children growing up in this world. Like, I know there's a better way. And people will basically call me crazy or delusional. Like, yeah, right. Like, but it's like, I don't feel comfortable. Like, I just, like, mean people. I'm like, who hurt you? Like, I feel physically ill around hurt people because they're harboring all this resentment and anger inside of them, and I feel it, and it makes me physically ill. Like, it makes me sick. And like, but anyways, also when I was at the spiritual retreat, I had so much in common with all the people there. I wouldn't say I was the youngest person there, but it was maybe 2 other people younger than me. It was different nationalities, different ethnicities, but we all had certain things in common. None of us had watched the news in a really long time because we couldn't take it. I remember the last time I watched the news was like a year or a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, when this huge building in Miami collapsed. And like, I feel heavy talking about it. But the building had collapsed, and you could see the inside of a child's bedroom split in 2, and that did it for me. I'm like, why would you show this? Like, even me thinking about it, I feel very sad. I feel like I want to cry. Like, why would you show this on the news? And another lady said the last time she watched the news was when the news showed a tsunami, like, wiping out people. Like, it didn't show the people, like, you know, but it showed the people there running, and then it showed the wave consuming the area. So, I mean, you put two and two together and you know what happened. And so I sat there and listened to person after person. One lady, she hadn't watched the news in 20 years. So it's just like, yeah, I'm just built different. I'm not meant to fit into the masses. Like, I'm definitely on something here. And this is not a choice. Even with me becoming vegan, there had been a little voice in my head like 2 years ago while I'm eating my ribs saying, like, you're not supposed to be doing this. Like, why you eating meat? And I'm like, cooked meat is good. But that voice in my head is like, no, you're not supposed to be doing this. And then I started saying, watching documentaries about how our teeth are flat and we're supposed to be herbivores or, plant eaters. And like, so the more information I consumed, and then I just kind of went ahead and made that transition to being vegan. But when I got there, a lot of them were vegetarian. Like, first of all, the retreat is fully vegetarian. And a lot of people there were vegetarian. Well, everybody there was pretty much vegetarian or vegan. And what's insane to me is that God has been leading me down a journey to where I'm making these changes and doing these things on my own. And then after I do it, or after I have the dream, or after I receive the message, I see that someone else got the same message. I see that other people are saying 144. I see, it's just like, if you know, then you know. If you don't, then you don't. Like, that's what's crazy about it. But anyways, I really had a great time. There were a lot of synchronicities. I would say one lady, I want to say her name was Siddhayatan. Was it Siddhayatan? I don't know. I'll post her name. But she really made my stay very comfortable. She went out her way. She's of a guest relation. She's also the chef. She went out her way to make me feel very comfortable, make me feel like I belonged. You know what I'm saying? Now, I would definitely recommend this book, Shine Through Wisdom. Now, there are aspects where they kind of promote Jainism, which I'm okay with that because I studied sociology, and a part of that I had to take a religion course to where I studied Buddhism, Shintoism, a lot of Japanese religions, different cultures. And during that time, around 19 years old, is when I first realized, and God has been working on me, leading me to this path. I realized that we're all one. We're all the same. And I also realized that we're all speaking to one creator. Like, we let religion separate us, and we talk about, oh, that person believes this, they're going to hell, or this person that. Like, God is love. God is not judgment. I'm going to say that again. God is love. God is not judgment. So who are we to judge? So that's why I really, really loved doing the confessions exercise, because it's very humbling. Like, who you think you are? Are you perfect? Who are you to judge someone? Plus, we chose this. So the person that you judging, the person that you hating the most, they're doing exactly what they signed up to do. They're doing exactly what you and them agreed to. So you got to realize that people are not being the evil villain in your story. They're actually your hero. Yeah, you can see them as a hero pushing you towards your breakthrough. That's how I'm going to look at it, in the most positive light, because I love who I am. I love who I've evolved to be and who I'm continuing to evolve to be. And I feel like my life has come full circle. I've learned to love all sides of me. When you judge someone, you got to understand that that's the aspect of yourself that you try to hide or that you're ashamed of, and that's why you're judging them. Just think about it. If it hit right now, it don't. If it hit later on, then it hit later on. If it don't hit at all, then so be it. Maybe this video not for you. But judgment is whack. Like, who you think you are? Who you think you is to judge somebody? So, especially when you never walked in their shoes, you don't know what their journey is. Maybe this is not the lifetime that they're supposed to achieve whatever it is that, maybe it's not their lifetime to achieve enlightenment or whatever it is that you feel that, your journey is. And, maybe not everybody gonna make it to the new world. Not everybody gonna understand that Christ is within and not, outside of you. Christ is within you. Your Christ consciousness. A lot of people think that there's gonna be an opening from the sky, and it's this opening. You know what I'm saying? If you get it, you get it. You don't. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm kind of rambling at this point because I'm excited. I really had a great time. But I really loved going on the spiritual retreat. Now, if you're not open to different religions, I do have a suggestion. You may not want to go to the prayer. Now, it's more like a chanting, but it's so fast, it's hard to keep up. So it's more of an observation. Another thing that was hard for me is that when you're doing the prayer or the chanting, you cannot point your toes at the monk or the enlightened one, which is the master. So you want to be careful with that. Now, the reason why I had a hard time is because my leg went to sleep like 1 minute in. I couldn't feel one of my legs at all. So my foot, I don't know where my foot was pointing because I couldn't feel it, and you have your eyes closed. But basically, I don't know a lot of my people that follow me, I'm going to assume that you urban or maybe, African American. I don't know what you are, but matter of fact, if you made it to this point in the video, post where you're from so I know. But if you remember on I Can Seem to Turn, what it's called, What's Love Got to Do with It? When she finds her inner peace and she's like, Nam Yum Reggae Kyo, Nam Yum Reggae Kyo, Nam Yum Reggae Kyo, Nam Yum Reggae Kyo. Like, they basically do universal mantras. Like, like Shanti, like I was already familiar with and Shanti. Like, some of them, a lot of them I was not. So they go fast. And so it could be, for someone who's not exposed to universal mantras, you might want to skip that part. Or just, if you open to learning, go ahead and go. Another thing that they do is that allow the enlightened one or the master to bless them and the monks. So you do bow, and then he will come and touch he touched the back of my back when he blessed me. But it was a really, really great experience. I definitely would. Initially going in, I felt like, I don't need to go to the class. I'm going to just go on my personal retreat. I need to learn from them because I've been doing research on my own. I started my spiritual journey in 2020. But after reading this book, I would definitely go back. They're really big on nonviolence. So inside of the rooms, there's a cup to catch the bugs. They don't hurt bugs. They don't consume animals. They don't even eat root vegetables because it could be harmful to the bioorganisms, I believe. I can't remember quite. But I can't put this book down. It was so awesome. So they have you doing mantras. They have you doing, I wanted to read y'all a little section of the book too. Something that really, really stood out to me. All right, so it says, awareness is like shining a light on a demonic monster that hates the light. The more light that is shined upon it, the less power it has. With persistent light shining awareness, we gain our power back, and the demonic monster no longer has control over our lives. So a lot of people, like, I had this problem, and I realized, in my dreams, I've basically been told, like, you can't save people. It has to be a choice. They have to choose to surrender to God if they want to experience, if they want to reach that level of enlightenment, if they want to reach, bliss, if they want to activate the Christ consciousness within them. And so I had a problem of constantly trying to bring awareness to people. And they would tell me, like, but I'm not a bad person, and but I'm not this and I'm not that. And so I could see looking back that it could feel like judgment on my part. But really, it's like, when you find out about something great, it's like I cracked the code. I got the key. I understand life now. I know how to, become one with God. And it's like when you love people, you want to bring them along with you. But I think this was so beautiful about how they shaped awareness, because when I explain to someone what they're doing wrong or how they could do something better, or I bring awareness to something, they kind of like start convulsing. Dang near, it's like the worst thing in the world to them. And I've decided that I think that I'm only meant to help those who come to me for help and assistance. I'm no longer going to like go out of my way to try to save like family members or like, the people that I love. That's not my job to do. So, yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed this book. There's a lot of reflecting and writing. They talk about desires, non-attachment, meditation. They talk about some things I hadn't even heard. Like, it's deep. Like, as far as meditation, mantras, and belly breathing. That was a good one. It's just explained in a completely different way. So I definitely, Jainism, I'm not with organized religion. I'm a spiritual person, but I respect Jainism just like I respect Buddhism. I remember when I was 19 years old and I discovered Buddhism, I was like, it's really religions that do good? Like, they believe in like good karma and doing good and right by people. I remember being Baptist, going to church. I constantly hear like, this person going to hell. This person is doing this wrong. And like, it was beautiful to be around. It's beautiful to be around people and religions that don't judge others, that love people regardless. And so I kind of feel like, okay, these are cool people to be around. But yeah, so I did a number of activities. Let me see what else. I'm sorry, y'all. It's like a little fly in here or something. Let me see what other activities. So releasing violence. So you talk about anything violent you've done. You write down everything violent you've done. Because once you write it down, you got to stare yourself in the face. I've written a letter of forgiveness to myself. I've forgiven. Every day I try to make the intention to forgive all the people who I feel have done me wrong so that it's fresh. I always try to return to my heart space. Every day I remind myself that I am love, that God is love. I'm one with God in the universe. I'm the creator of my reality. I put my right hand over my heart, my left hand over my stomach. I already do Reiki, so you already know if you know what Reiki is. But that's important to me, for me to remember the power within myself and always interact with people from my heart space and not from judgment or from anger or from resentment or, and I've sent love to people who have no idea. Like, I remember, I don't know if y'all remember, but I'm currently still on monk mode. I'm coming out of monk mode, but I found out somebody in my family was in the hospital. I sent them love. And people that I don't maybe interact with, I still send them love because I love them. At the end of the day, do I recommend the spiritual retreat? Yes. Did I have a great time? Yes. What type of retreat I do? I did the personal retreat. Overall, it was very affordable. It was about $300 and something. I checked in on a Friday and checked out on a Sunday. The peace was amazing. I meditated. They have this Tirth path that you walk. I did walk that. They have like 2 lakes out there. It's just vast open space, honestly, and it's very enlightening and beautiful, but at the same time it's very humbling. So it's not, don't expect, you're not going to the Ritz-Carlton, but it's extremely nice. Like, you saw my room, everything was very nice. But like, keep in mind, if you're bougie, and if you're watching this video, you're probably not bougie. But if you want some stuff like that, then you might want to, you know what I'm saying? But if you're down to earth and you're an outdoorsy type person, like, then go. They do eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They do make Indian food for all of their dishes when I was there. I didn't eat breakfast because I just don't eat breakfast. I used to do IF, but I'm kind of like not doing IF anymore. I just don't really eat breakfast anymore for whatever reason. I don't feel hungry. So lunch is at 12:30 and then dinner's at 7. So that's pretty much what I ate, and they had traditional Indian vegetarian food. It was food dishes and foods I never had before, but I was excited to try it. So if you're open to trying new foods, being around new people, interesting people, then I definitely would suggest that you go on a spiritual retreat. Everyone was super kind. Everyone was super nice. I went by myself and had an amazing experience. If you're in the Dallas area, it'd probably take you about an hour to an hour and a half to get there. It took me about an hour and 45 minutes because I went during traffic time. I went like at 5, like when everybody's getting off for work on a Friday. So I had to fight some traffic. Overall, I definitely would recommend it. All right, thanks. Bye.